All right, peace, bro. Hope that you're doing wonderful. And yeah, man, welcome. This is going to be your reading, right? Within this reading, we are going to be touching upon the fundamentals of your birth chart. We'll be talking about, those like the corners, you know what I'm saying, like the pillars of your birth chart. And then if you choose to dive deeper, after we get done with this reading and you understand the foundation and the fundamentals, then we can definitely dive deeper. But yeah, in this session, we're gonna be talking about like your most prominent planet, you know what I'm saying? The most prominent sign and the most prominent houses. And we'll also touch upon like the aspects, that are being made to your planets. And so what all this means when it comes to your prominent planet, it's important to understand it because this is what you should direct your attention and focus upon, what I'm saying? Like your prominent planet is that planet that you should learn to develop like the traits and qualities associated with it. You should learn to align yourself with the activities, right, that align with that planet, and you should even learn to align yourself with other people that are reflective to that planet. And the more alignment you do with your most prominent planet, the more alignment you gain, like in your life. You know what I'm saying? Like the more things start to flow, that like happier you become, the more fulfilled and the more joy you extract from life. All right. So without further ado, let's definitely jump in. And looking at your birth chart, right? One thing that really catches my attention is the fact that you have a stellium and the sign Sagittarius and also the sign Aquarius. And so a stellium, right? Let me explain what that means. A stellium is an occurrence when more than one planet is more than four planets, four or more planets, actually three or more planets are in one sign, So for you, when you were born, I'll also put it on the charts for you to see, but I'll try to kind of show it to you. I don't think that's gonna do it justice. All right, for sure. You see how there's like an alignment of you see like at the top, you know what I'm saying? Did you notice how they're like a sequence? You know what? You might not know, but here I'm gonna pull it up in the chart, and what it is there's like a line of different planets, and they're all in the same sign. So at the top of your chart, you have Pluto, Chiron, your Venus, and also Lilith. They're all within the sign Sagittarius. And then on the left side of your chart, also at the top, right, the left top corner, you have Mercury, Neptune, your South Node, and also Aquarius. I mean, Uranus, all in Aquarius. And so when there is a concentration of energy like that, what this does is it makes these energies or those signs very like focused, right, concentrated, and their energies are very prominent within your life. They're very noticeable. And so before we even jump into all of that, right, let me also explain to you that you have like your sun in Capricorn, but then you have your moon in in Cancer, I mean. And I feel like the most important thing for us to start with is your moon. And the reason why, at least according to this chart, it is the most prominent one, right? And I would definitely urge that you try to find like your birth time. I don't know if you can access like your birth certificate, like your birth certificate should have the birth time on there as well. Yeah. But then if not, then then it is what it is. But I would, if you can, do whatever you can in your power, you know what I'm saying, to get that birth time. Because that's really gonna help you gain deeper awareness into, your astrology and your energy. Okay, so we're gonna start with the moon. So your moon is within the sign Cancer. And this is of significance because, see, Cancer is ruled by the moon, meaning that your moon sign is where it's supposed to be naturally. Like the moon wants to be in Cancer. When it's in Cancer, it's at home. And what that means is that it gets to comfortably express itself, right? Like when you think of home, when we're at home, right, it's our comfort zone. It's when we are the rawest, we don't have to put on a facade or anything like that. We're not trying to impress anybody. We're at home, we're kicking back, we're chilling, probably like etc. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, when the moon is in Cancer, it's chill. It's doing what it can do comfortably, what it wants to do comfortably. And so the moon deals with our emotions, right? It deals with our inner world. It deals with how we react and respond to the world around us, right? And so the moon is also feminine, right? It's plastic. Plastic meaning it is like changeable and adaptable. You know what I'm saying? And so with your moon being in Cancer, before I even talk about your moon being in Cancer, it's also important I bring up the aspect that's happening between your moon and your sun. So your moon and your sun are opposing each other. They're in opposite signs. You know what I'm saying? Like deals with Cancer deals with like maternal energies. You know what I'm saying? It deals with family. It deals with home. It deals with being vulnerable, or also being afraid of being vulnerable. Because Cancer also does deal with being shy and being reserved and being like conscientious of other people. You know what I'm saying? And wanting only to engage with the things that are familiar. You know what I'm saying? And avoiding the things that are unfamiliar. When you think of Cancer, it's represented right by the crab. And the thing about the crab is it has an exterior shell, right? The crab has this like external skeleton, right? That protects it. But then in the inside, it's like meat, right? Its insides are very mushy. And so this is reflective to Cancer's strength and Cancer's greatest obstacle or challenge, you know what I'm saying? Cancer's strength is in its tenacity, meaning that as a Cancer moon, you do have this capacity to go through a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? Especially like a lot of emotional things. You probably gone through a lot of emotional things as well, especially with you being a Capricorn sun. A lot of Capricorns, the way that they live their life is kind of backwards, you know what I'm saying? In the sense that when they are children, they their childhood is like taken away from them in the sense that they're not able to enjoy it to the full, like to most how most people would. Because Capricorn, through the energy of Saturn, doesn't have the leisure of, being like protected and cared for and nurtured. Instead, it has this energy of like being thrown out into the world and being valued according to like what it can do. You know what I'm saying? Because see, I said what it can do because the things you can do are physically perceived by other people, right? Um, and Capricorn is an earth sign. The earth signs deal with the physical world. They deal with things that are practical. The earth signs are signs that deal with, industry, meaning like the different like the work. Like and when I say industry, I mean like work and like the different works of this world to deal with like the corporate world, and in general business, you know what I'm saying? That is the area where these signs can shine, you know what I'm saying? Where business, finances, money, and just building something. But in general, it's important to understand that when it comes to like money, like the pentacle or whatever, it's reflective to value. You know what I'm saying? Like before we had money, right, we had barter and trade, right? Like we would bargain with each other and we would trade with each other. So what money did is it replaced that energy of value, right? That because all money is an agreed upon value system that we agree to exchange with each other in this society. You know what I'm saying? And the earth signs kind of mediate that energy of because okay of money, right? Because Taurus, custodian of wealth, right? Taurus deals with holding on to wealth and making sure that the money is secure. Like Tauruses rule banks and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Virgo deals with labor, it deals with work, it deals with um like working on the field, planting seeds and then harvesting the fruits of one's labor. You know, Virgo is very much labor orientated. And then when it comes to Capricorn, Capricorn is um the business minded like the CEO, you know what I'm saying? Like Capricorn is the one who came up with the idea of the business, right? And how the business should run and this and the third. And then Capricorn hired other people to work for it, if that makes sense. But when it comes to the energy of Capricorn, um Capricorns are like the overseers of the conducts of the earth, the earthly plane or the earth signs. Like, and you can kind of also understand it from the perspective that, you know, Capricorn is the last sign. And astrology very much tells a story of evolution according to, you know, where the signs are. And we have Taurus as the first earth sign. So this is like the first manifestation of the earth element, right? This is its rawest expression. Taurus is fixed earth, right? And when you think of earth, you have to think of solid things, right? Like fixed things. So yeah, it's fixed earth, right? Which is very much reflective to earth in its most rawest natural state, a rock, solid. But then we have Virgo, which is mutable earth, and this is like sand, you know, like once the rock starts to be broken down into many, many different pieces, and now it has more mobility and can kind of flow a little bit better, then yeah, that's like Capricorn. I mean, I'm sorry, that's like Virgo. But then Capricorn is like when it's all said and done, like Taurus is like finances, money, wealth, and resources out in the world. But then Virgo finds a way to extract those resources and those values through labor, through service, and through giving to others. But then Capricorn kind of has this capacity to see what's going on in the world and know how to take advantage of it. You know what I'm saying? Capricorn energy is ruled by Saturn. So they do have this like um inclination and capacity to be more self-orientated um and kind of know how to do things out into the world, do things in the world for their own benefit and their own advancements, if that makes sense. Okay, but yeah, I just wanted to break that down real quick, you know, the energy of like the evolution of the three elements, but let's go back to your sun being in Capricorn and your moon being in Cancer. So as I was previously saying though, Cancer, yeah, and Capricorn, these two signs are opposites. And you have your sun and your moon opposing each other at such like a close degree. You know what I'm saying? It's a very prominent energy. And what happens here is there is an opposition between like your feminine expression and your masculine expression. And so that in of itself is a rabbit hole, you know, because when you think of like feminine and masculine energies, like they correlate and associate to so many different things. You know what I'm saying? Like it's also valuable to understand that water and earth are both feminine energies, but earth is the masculine and water is the feminine. It's like even though they're both feminine, earth is more masculine in its expression than water, and water is more feminine in its expression than earth. But typically most earth signs, especially the Capricorns, incline towards some form of like business, you know what I'm saying? Or some sort of mechanism that will help them get to the top. You know what I'm saying? Because Capricorn is all about status, it's all about recognition, and it's all about like climbing the corporate ladder. So a lot of Capricorns have this tendency of finding themselves or getting themselves to like some sort of authority or status or recognition. You know what I'm saying? They're not like Virgos who are okay and content with just working, you know what I'm saying, and being like workers for the world, and they're not like Tauruses in the sense that Tauruses are content. with just having like enough resources to live a comfortable and secure life. But Capricorns more so want to leverage and take the earth element to a higher level, a next level, if that makes sense. And um, Capricorn also deals with the mountain goat, right, which is recognized for its capacity to climb like rigid um like landscapes, you know what I'm saying? Because when you observe a mountain go do its thing and climb on the mountain, you recognize that it's moving in ways that are just insane, like it's difficult, you know what I'm saying? And that's just reflective to the fact that a lot of Capricorns, even though they do eventually get to the top, you know what I'm saying? Their life is filled with like struggle and strife and having to overcome all types of hardships. And a couple of notable, people with Capricorn energy, right? It would be like Kevin Gates, for example. And when you observe Kevin Gates' story, whether it be like really through studying his biography or through his music, you know what I'm saying? He talks a lot about how he came up from like the struggle and like all these crazy things happened to him and this and the third, and I feel like with your energies, you can probably relate with Kevin Gates because like Kevin Gates has his moon in Capricorn, but his moon is in the ninth house, and the ninth house is the house of Sagittarius. And we'll get into your Sagittarius very soon. Um, and this is like that energy of like duality that Kevin Gates expresses. I mean, he's a Gemini rising, so that makes him very dualistic as well. But because Kevin Gates, right, he is like really like a thug, right? Like really into that lifestyle of like the streets and this and the third. But at the same time, you do recognize that he is a philosophical individual who is aware of deeper concepts than most people, you know what I'm saying? And so he has his yin yang energy about him. And like you, it's funny because you do too, you know what I'm saying? Because on one end, I'm pretty sure you're acquainted and familiar with like the streets and like the street life and this and the third, but simultaneously you're also awakened, you know what I'm saying? And you're aware of like the significance and importance of the soul and the fact that you are a spirit having a human experience and it's not vice versa. So yeah, that energy is very, very real. You know what I'm saying? And this energy or duality expresses also through the fact that you have your sun and your moon opposing each other. You know what I'm saying? Because like the moon is more spiritual, right? And spirituality most definitely is more of a feminine thing rather than a masculine thing. And the reason being it's because in order for us to be spiritual, we must tap in internally. You know what I'm saying? That like the spiritual plane or the spiritual world is within us. It's not without. It's not around. It's not outside of us. It's inside of us. And so the more we tap into our inner world, the more spiritual we are. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, let me like turn this off. I mean, not turn it off. Just put it on silence because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get some messages. I don't want to be distracted. All right, for sure. So yeah, yeah. Pretty much. And this duality, it's wonderful on one end, but on another end, like here, let's talk about the beauty and hold on, bro, I gotta like turn off the volume. I didn't even do that. You put it on like vibrate. Alright, cool. So on one end, when someone has their sun and their moon oppose each other, this does create for an opportunity for them to become holistic and well-rounded. See, an opposition signifies a separation of energy, meaning that um, two energies are separating independent of each other. You know what I'm saying? Like your sun, which signifies and deals with your willpower, your self-expression, your identity, and just what you want. Like your sun, you can also it's a masculine planet, you know what I'm saying? And being your willpower, you want to think of it as like your sun sign is where it also deals with your focal point, right? It's where you're focused and where you're putting life into, you know what I'm saying? Like what and where you're putting life into, what you're vitalizing. It's your center of attention. And when you think of your sun placement, this is the placement where you want to focus on character development. You know what I'm saying? You want to develop as much of the positive traits revolving around Capricorn as possible and make that an extension of your character. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to make it, it'll just naturally find itself resonating in that area of identity. You know what I'm saying? When you start to develop the Capricornian energies and traits. And so when we are speaking upon Capricornian energies and traits, it's valuable to understand that and we'll get into like the moon in a little bit as well, because I'm still talking about the opposition between your sun and your moon. But when it comes to the Capricorn energy, it's important to understand that Capricorn deals with it's ruled by Saturn, right? And so when it comes to the energy of Capricorn, it's valuable to understand the energy of Saturn as well and know that Capricorn is merely the feminine expression of Saturn. So Capricorn is really just Saturn, but more so the feminine expression of Saturn. So you want to learn as much as you can about the Saturnian energy and start to cultivate the positive attributes of Saturnian energy. On one end, Saturn is considered the major, minor, major, um the major minor, yeah. So the major malefic, right? We have the minor malefic and then the major malefic, not malefic, malefic, meaning that it's maleficent, it's evil, right? And it's not that it's evil, but a lot of people correlate, the energy of Saturn with the energy of Satan, and this is because Saturn is the opposer, right? He creates opposing scenarios. Saturn is responsible for creating the lessons of life that we experience to deal with difficulty. Saturn's energy is not love and light, it's darkness. Saturn is considered to be dry and cold. You know what I'm saying? The plane of Saturn in of itself is dry and cold, and yeah, it opposes the moon as well. It opposes the moon and Venus, right? Um, Venus is the planet that deals with harmony, it deals with beauty, it deals with leisure, and it just deals with the path of least resistance. You know what I'm saying? When you think of Venus, you also want to think of like women, and especially beautiful women, and how the attractiveness that a woman has tends to also attract to her things into her life. Like most beautiful women don't have to do nothing, right? Because like they just attract those things to themselves. And so that's very much the case with yeah. So that's very much the case with like the Saturnian energy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like not the case with Saturnian energy, but Saturn is the opposite. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Venus attracts to herself um a great life, with a lot of harmony and beauty and pleasure. Saturn attracts to the person who is Saturnian or influenced by Saturn, meaning like Capricorn or an Aquarius. Saturn attracts to that person a lot of like hardship and struggle and tribulation. And the reason being, it's because, okay, Saturn also deals with diamonds, right? Simultaneously, Saturn also deals with coal. And it's important to understand that when it comes to diamonds and coal, right, a coal becomes into a diamond due to it being exposed to extreme pressure, right? And so what Saturn does is it gives you all of these circumstances that deal with um strife and hardship and tribulation, but those are like the heat that are pressurizing you into a diamond. And it's like you can either fold and break, or you can awaken to the occasion and choose to like evolve, transform, grow, heal. You know what I'm saying? And so those are like really the two options that Saturn gives you. And the thing about Saturn's energy is people who are Saturnian, they have this and like I said earlier, right? Capricorn energy opposes Cancer energy. The thing about Cancer energy is typically when it comes to Cancerian energy, these people have the leisure of family. You know what I'm saying? In the sense that they have family around them to take care of them and to love them and nurture them, all that good stuff. And so life is a little bit easier for them because they have that capacity of having, people there that care for them and everything like that. And you having your moon in Cancer does give you that attribute and quality, you know what I'm saying, of having a connection with your family. But the thing is, it may also play out an energy of like, um, your family may oppose your identity. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said earlier, the sun deals with identity, and the moon deals with like the inner world, the emotions, and as an extension, it also deals with your family. Because when you think of your family is greatly responsible for your inner world and the condition that your inner world is in. In the sense that growing up, a lot of because before I even get into that, we know, right, that psychology shows us that from the ages of birth, right, 0 to 7, any and every child is very, very, um, like subjected to programming, very, like very receptive, very, open-minded, whatever. And it's like whatever is exposed to the child, it kind of absorbs it, meaning that you as um you as a person, right? And the way that you react and respond to the world around you is very, very reflective to your family, you know what I'm saying, life and how you grew up and everything like that. If you had religious influences, even though right now you have awoken and you're in a grander perspective, um that religious programming may still influence you till this day, but it's like it's beyond just religious programming, you know what I'm saying? It's like whatever familial influence was like subjected or um what's the word I'm looking for, like in like whatever was influenced, like however you were affected familially, you know what I'm saying, like that's an aspect that you is still very much prominent and that's still very much there. And that's where you may need to do a lot of your shadow work, you know what I'm saying? Like going back to your childhood and reflecting on the things that happened when you were a child and how those things, even till this day, are opposing you as a person, you know what I'm saying? Because, like I said earlier, you have your sun and your moon opposing each other. And another thing that this opposition creates. Hold on. Before I get there, I was earlier trying to discuss the qualities of Capricorn that you should learn to develop. And so I'm gonna get into that just a little bit right now. But yeah, so I did explain how Saturn is maleficent, and thus a lot of Capricorns have a hard life. But the hardness of it all, it's because it's meant to pressurize you and transform you into something greater. And so also I want to share this. In certain theologies or ideologies, right, there is a belief that um Jupiter is the old planet of spirituality. Like in the older, like back in the days, Jupiter's power was sufficient enough to rule over like spiritual things, and it was recognized as the spiritual planet. But as we are going into this newer age, Saturn becomes more of the one that rules spirituality, in the sense that in the past it was sufficient enough for us to engage in like study and the acquisition of knowledge and also the practice of communion and coming together with others, you know what I'm saying, who are also spiritually like-minded. in order for us to attain enlightenment. But in this new day and age, the theme has kind of shifted, and now it's like we gain more spiritual power through walking a path of semi-isolation. I say semi-isolation because you are alone and isolated temporarily. And then once you integrate what you need to integrate, then your soul family, your soul tribe comes. You know what I'm saying? And Saturn through Aquarius very much does deal with groups and working together as a collective. You know what I'm saying? Although Saturn can, yeah, for sure deal with no, no. Saturn doesn't really deal with alone isolation energy. Saturn really doesn't like to be alone. It more so would rather be around others and things like that. But at the same time, the energy of Saturn through Capricorn wants to be around people, but is more comfortable leading people rather than following people. Like if a Capricorn is amongst a group of friends, it has to be like the leader of that group. It's not comfortable just being like a follower or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like Cancer can be a little bit more comfortable in that energy, but Capricorn is like, nah, we need to I need to feel like I'm in control one way or another, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so for sure, it's important to understand that isolation is very, very much temporary, but at the same time, it's necessary. And a lot of us go through that isolation because yeah, pretty much to integrate. That's why we go through it. But what Saturn does, right, in this new day and age, right, we're also in the age of Aquarius, and Aquarius is a sign that's ruled by Saturn, but it's ruled by Saturn, but it's also ruled by Uranus as well. And Uranus is the higher octave of Aquarius. And even though your sun nor moon is in Aquarius, you can very much resonate and relate with the Aquarius energy because you have like a stellium in Aquarius. But yeah, so the energy of Aquarius, yeah, is connected to Saturn as well. But yeah, so pretty much, the ideology goes Jupiter is not sufficient enough in this new day and age to help someone like expand and attain spiritual enlightenment. Like in this day and age, Saturn is the one who kind of dominates the energy of um spirituality. And also, I also say this because previously I did state that Saturn is typically associated with Satan. And it's valuable to understand that in this world that we live in, where everything is within the domain of God, right? And I'm using practical words right now to explain something, right? It's important for us to understand that being in the domain of God, that means that nothing is outside of God, outside of divinity. But in reality, every single thing that happens, even those horrendous, awful things that happen, one way or another, are intended to serve a higher good, a higher purpose. And when you look at Saturn's energy, right, from the surface, you're like, yo, why is this celestial body like causing all of this like poverty, illness, and all of this insane insanity? You know what I'm saying? Like war and etc. Aggression, like aggression and war are more Mars. But Mars and Saturn are connected to the energy of Capricorn because Capricorn is exalted in Saturn. I mean, exalted in Mars. And what that means is, as a Capricorn, you possess tremendous initiative. You know what I'm saying? If you have a vision, a goal, then you have the resources within you to take initiative, to ensure that you get that goal done. A lot of Capricorns, most Capricorns know how to work with time. You know what I'm saying? They know how to set long-term goals and hold on to that vision of accomplishing the goal no matter how hard it gets. It's kind of like the goat, right? The mountain goat who's climbing. It gets in tricky situations, but it doesn't waver from the objective of getting to the top of the mountain. You know, it always aspires to push itself forward and forward and forward and forward. And that's very much like that Capricornian energy. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And so attributes and qualities needing to be developed when it comes to Capricorn is one's intelligence. You know what I'm saying? It's important to cultivate and develop your intellectual abilities and capacity, your ability to view and perceive life. Like it's important to understand the energies before Capricorn and after Capricorn. The energy before Capricorn is Sagittarius. What this means is Capricorns can benefit from the development of their mind and the development of um some form of spirituality, you know what I'm saying? Realizing that there's more to life than just the material world. A lot of Capricorns can fall into a materialistic trap, where they think that life is just about getting money and wealth, and um Capricorns can become cold-hearted, and they can be self-orientated and kind of not care about other people, kind of have this concept of like might is right, you know what I'm saying? And um kind of perceive those people who can't fend or help themselves um as helpless, rather than trying to help them and give charity. And this is like, it really depends on the Capricorn, because evolved Capricorns, you know what I'm saying, they more so understand that everything is connected and they need to help and render onto others, and they also have this empathy for people that don't have much or that are going through it, because they remember when they went through it as well, and being where they are, they'll it's like they'll come back, um they'll climb back down from the top of the mountain just to help those at the bottom of the mountain, type of energy, right? To lift them up. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, definitely the development of one's intelligence and things like that. And that is reinforced by both Capricorn and Sagittarius energy and Aquarius energy. It's also important for a Capricorn to understand that they should allow themselves to experience, you know what I'm saying, life beyond just like the world that they're aware of and that they're familiar with, but um expose themselves in a sense to other people's way of living in life, and expand their mind frame and realize that the world is bigger than what they thought it was, if that makes sense. It's also important for Capricorns, because of the energy of Aquarius, right, which follows Capricorn, that they expose themselves, you know what I'm saying, to the world, like not the world around them, but the people around them, and that they make connections and relationships. And the thing about Capricorn energy, I mean Aquarius energy, is it is the least personal of the air signs. Like Aquarius energy deals with relationships and dynamics, but like professional ones. It doesn't deal with romantic relationships and connections. You know what I'm saying? It deals with relationships and connections where it's like you guys just know each other, um, because you met at your workplace, or you met at a grocery store, but you guys aren't like friends. You guys don't hang out every day, but there's just some sort of reason, like some sort of value for you guys to stay to like connected. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Capricorn and Aquarius very much deal with the diplomatic energy of knowing how to engage with other people, but in a business setting of like exchange, like a transactional relationship. Like, this is what I have to bring to the table, and this is what you have to bring to the table, and that's why we're interacting and connecting with each other. But yeah, also another thing for Capricorn, it's is to understand that discipline is of great importance, and it's like one of their powers. You know what I'm saying? Capricorns um have this capacity to become very, very disciplined, very, very practical, and very, very grounded. You know what I'm saying? And it's important for you to cultivate and develop that, and to become system minded. What I mean by that is, see, you can turn anything into, you can systemize anything. You know what I'm saying? You can make any activity systematic, but like the first step is making goals and understanding where you're going. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's very important for the energy of Capricorn. And then once aware of where you're going, then like make practical systems for you to get there. Like For instance, let's say you wanted to develop your mind. You can make a system that will help you develop your mind. Let's say you might wanted to make like $1 million. You can make like when I say system, like kind of think of it like a plan, like an intricate plan with many different parts to it. You know what I'm saying? Um, and Saturn very much deals with that too. It deals with like craftsmanship and working on one's craft, but using many different aspects um to attain the objective and the goal, right? But yeah, I think other than that, like when it comes to the Capricorn energy, simple things to understand is Capricorn's key phrases I use. It's all about utility. It's all about understanding and knowing how to use the things around you. You know what I'm saying? How to use whether it be the people around you, the money, the things you have, and using people around you isn't always a bad thing, right? Let's say you have someone who is like example, I'm an astrologer, right? So you paid me to help you understand your birth chart. And so you used me to benefit, you know what I'm saying? But that's not a bad thing because we mutually benefited, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's what Capricorn is all about. It's about knowing how to use the resources you have around you for your greatest advantage and benefit. Now, when we're talking about the energy of the moon, the energy of the moon is all about, I already explained that, but like your moon in Cancer does make you, it's interesting because having your sun in Capricorn, you're like a person who may not always express their emotions, and you may come off to others like dry and emotionless and kind of reserved, right? But then behind the scenes, you're a very emotional person, you're very sensitive. You could be very sensitive. Um, but you're really good at knowing how to like keep that tucked away, keep that hidden. And the thing is, what happens here is with the sun moon opposition is you may have this capacity, not capacity, but tendency of like confusing other people because they don't really know how you feel, in the sense that you may express one thing, but then behind the scenes you may feel a completely other way, but you kind of know how to keep that away and hidden. But at the same time, like this can even be um it's not, it can be a good thing, right? Having a poker face like that, but at the same time, it may be difficult in relationships because you may also like relationships with women, right? Because you may not completely know how to express your feelings and emotions, and thus kind of give people like the wrong idea, and kind of just in general also be someone who's hard to read, you know what I'm saying? Someone who may come off as like hard and like a gangster and like a thug and this and the third, but like whole time you're like really kind and really loving, and you have this capacity to give tremendous compassion to others. But like the way you act and your actions may seem like, yo, this person is like scary. Like I should probably stay away from this person. Blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? So there is that those two layers, and what happens here also is this energy of internal conflict within yourself also, because what happens is you recognize this duality inside of you between your emotions and how you feel, but also your ambitions, what you expect from yourself, and the things that you focus and strive towards, and how you want the world to see you. You know what I'm saying? So on one end, there's this energy of like wanting the world to see you as someone who is like kind of like someone who is like we'll say not, it didn't even have to be like the world, just like people around you possibly, as like someone who is like successful, someone who has some form of status or recognition. But then on the other end, there's innate desire to kind of just want to be accepted and loved and cared for, not for what you can do and the status that you may have, but just for the fact that you are a human being, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I hope that that makes sense, you know what I'm saying? Like, kind of just being loved and cared for just because you exist. But also the conflict here also can play out, and through the energy of like, because the sun and the moon also deal with like the present and the past. Like the sun deals with the present, but also the future. You know what I'm saying? And then the moon deals with the past. Like the moon also deals with the present, but also the past. Whereas the sun deals with the present, but also the future. You know what I'm saying? It's like future, past, opposition energy, where it's like you may one way or another be haunted by certain things that happened to you in the past. And as a result of those experiences that took place in your past, you may still be stuck. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you need to learn how to let go of those experiences, which are probably familial, right? Family orientated things that happen in your family that scarred you emotionally. And so you may, even till this day, carry scars with you that are emotional, but it's like needing to learn to release and let go is of importance and of great value. With the moon in Cancer, like one of the greatest things you could do also is to strive uh, towards family. And this may even be an energy of like possibly your family dynamic wasn't always the best and the greatest. And so when you grow up and you evolve, it's like you may want to strive towards having a family of your own so you can do it better than was done before with you. And with the separation between like the sun and the moon energy, it can also play out like in like kind of like someone having a decent okay family, right? But there wasn't a depth of like you being accepted for who you are as a person, being recognized and seen, and then like being supported on your journey. But instead it was kind of like this superficial energy of family where it was like, like they were there for you probably, like where well, I gotta think about this though, because see, the thing is, when the moon is in Cancer, this typically is reflective to a person who had like a good mother, right? And also with you having your sun in Capricorn, Capricorn being a feminine sign, it's an indication that your mother was more dominant within your life than your father. The maternal energy was more dominant than the paternal energy. Um, and the thing with a lot of Capricorn, Sun Capricorn people, like their mothers may also embody that energy of Capricorn. And so Capricorn being opposite to to Cancer, right? Energy of the moon. Um, a lot of people's mothers who are Capricorns, they grew up in a situation where it was like the mother didn't really care to be in the home. Like she may have had great ambitions and wanted to go out into the world and pursue and accomplish her own goals and career rather than being at home, you know what I'm saying? And so that may have also influenced the native themselves to kind of understand, not understand, but more so value career life over like family life, you know what I'm saying? Also being a sign that can incline towards selfishness and deception. The thing with Capricorn energy is their earlier role models, like their mother and or father, may have had this energy of displaying like manipulative tendencies or um deception, you know what I'm saying? And this may have been perceived with the mother and father. And like on another whole extreme, like because it's an opposition, right? It can even play out as like your mother and your father like having separated, you know what I'm saying? And like them no longer being together. Um yeah. Yeah, and that being like the scarring process, and that being the reason why like there is an opposition, a tug of war within yourself between your will but also your emotions. Your willpower is what you want to do, right? Like your ambition, what you focused on and what you intend to take action upon. But then your emotion is like what you are actually going to do. Because what you do and how you feel, right, don't have to be synonymous with each other. But for a lot of people, what they do depends on how they feel. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to Capricorn energy, I mean, when it comes to opposition, there's a conflict between needing to learn how to um, put your emotions and your feelings in alignment with your thoughts and your action. I'm sorry, not your, yeah, well, technically your thoughts and your actions. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, pretty much, like when it comes to the energy of the moon in Cancer, it's important to understand that you are highly influenced by the energy of the moon. And it was just a full moon in Cancer as well. So probably no better time for you to gain deeper insight into your birth chart than now, while the moon is going through Cancer, and it's a full moon. Because full moon filled with revelation, right? They reveal things like, yeah, they reveal things. Okay, what else can I say about the energy of, all right, okay, cool. Now, a couple of things about the Cancer energy. Cancer's key phrase is I feel. You know what I'm saying? It's all about feeling. Cancers are very, very, very sensitive. And when I say that, I mean like a person's sensitivity is directly connected to a person's psychic abilities and spiritual capacity. In the sense that when you are sensitive, it's reflective to the fact that you're like tuned in and aware of your inner world. You know, you kind of have a better awareness and understanding of what's going on within you. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, because a lot of people like Capricorn energy, for example. Capricorns, they go through things, a lot of things, but they're just really, really good at um like pushing it to the side and holding it in, you know what I'm saying, and not letting it out. And so that can be toxic, you know what I'm saying? But Cancer, they're more like aware, like they put light to their emotions and how they feel and things like that. And like one of the highest like shadow work you can do, right, is to learn to gauge your feelings and your emotions and work with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say you have this crazy feeling of fear, and you're afraid that you won't amount to anything, like kind of counseling yourself, you know what I'm saying? And talking with yourself and being like, um, I understand this fear that it's kind of like allowing your higher self to talk with your lower self, or more so your present self to talk to your inner child, you know what I'm saying? Like, and showing compassion to yourself and this and the third. That's very much Cancerian as well, because Cancer also deals with caring, right? Um, Also, with I feel, another phrase that's connected to Cancer is I care. And one of the greatest care energy you should learn to cultivate is um to care for yourself. You know what I'm saying? To show yourself that you care. And that like even like back to the example I was trying to use earlier. Even though you feel like an energy of like not amounting to anything or anything like that, and just being so afraid because all of your goals seem so big, and you minimize yourself, so you feel so small, and the obstacles feel so huge. It's kind of like sitting down and talking with yourself and showing yourself compassion and letting yourself know that you don't have to worry about getting it all done at once. You know, you can get it done one piece at a time, and kind of getting into this habit of like comforting yourself and understand, like, yeah, comforting yourself, I'll say, you know what I'm saying, showing yourself compassion and love. Like, as a Cancer moon, one of the most important things is your emotions, and one of the most important things you can do is learn how to work with your emotions and like, yeah, work with your emotions in a healthy manner, you know what I'm saying? um Also, your emotions are your vibration indicators, right? Like the way you feel is an indication of where you're vibrating. You know what I'm saying? And so if you feel negative, then you're vibrating at a lower frequency. And wherever you're vibrating, you attract. You attract those things. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you should definitely aspire to try and make sure that you in of yourself don't yeah, you in of yourself don't fall victim to that trap of feeling negatively, you know what I'm saying? But more so trying to be as positive as possible. And that's like the Capricorn energy. Now let's also look into I'm sorry, that's the Cancer energy. And so within your chart, your most prominent planet is the moon. And so it's very important that you cultivate moon energies, right? Cultivate your spiritual ability to as great of a capacity as you possibly can. You know what I'm saying? Learn to cultivate compassion and caring for others. You know what I'm saying? Being a Capricorn, you've probably seen some crazy stuff, and people have probably showed you a lot of uncompassion, right? Like uncompassion. I don't even know if that's a word. But yeah, uncompassion, like hate and things like that. But regardless, it's valuable for you to learn to raise above the hatred, you know what I'm saying? And learn to embrace like humanity as a whole, as your family. And also, one of the greatest accomplishments you can attain in this lifetime is probably um, creating a family of your own. And the reason why, and this ties back to spirituality, the reason why it's because love, right, is the highest frequency. And when you are genuinely in love with a woman, right, and you get a child as well, like the love that you have for like the love that a woman, I mean, a husband and a man share to like a man and woman share together, you know, like that really opens up one's mind and perception and expands one's like soul, right? One's heart and one's mind. But even greater, well, I won't say even greater, but also of tremendous significance is the love that one cultivates for their child. You know what I'm saying? Like the child that a mother specific because like a father is going to love the child, right? No facts, but a mother is way more connected to her child than is the father. You know what I'm saying? But regardless, like the love that happens and that manifests when one has a family is very much potent, you know, in regards to helping one expand their spirituality and all of that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, helping one expand their spirituality. Um, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier about vibration, right? And because your emotions are your vibrations, the highest vibration you can tap into is love. You know what I'm saying? If you observe and look back at the times when you were in love, you notice that things were like better. You know what I'm saying? Like things were working out more for you at that time than, and I mean, like, of course, genuinely being in love, because a lot of people mistake love with other things, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, for sure, like that is a value and importance. Also the moon, and what's value and importance is the cultivation and development of family. You know what I'm saying? And this doesn't have to be like immediately going out and like, you know, creating a family with a woman. It could just be like in general, learning to cultivate love and caring for like humanity at large. But it's important to understand that you can't just off the bat go out into the world and demonstrate love if you've never loved an individual. It's like first you need to love one person, and in learning to love that one person, it kind of teaches you how to love. And then once you know how to love, then that same love you shared with that individual person, you can share with everyone else. You know what I'm saying? But it's like yeah, needing to learn how to love first. And so that's why, like, any opportunity you're given, right, to love, you should always take advantage of it because it's transferable. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing with hatred as well, of course. Like any opportunity, like of hatred that you are given, and if you feed into it, then now you know how to hate. And now you can like not just you learn how to hate one person, but now that hate has spread to everyone else. And it's the same with vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Um, so we have ran out of time. The hour has come, and we are going to end this session. But yeah, pretty much, your most prominent planet is the moon, right? And your most prominent, your most prominent sign, well, it would have to be your most prominent sign would have to be Cancer because the moon is in Cancer. You know what I'm saying? And so that kind of reinforces that power and potency. And so we'll dive deeper later into your chart and everything like that. For this session, this reading, in case like you have any questions or anything like that, definitely let me know and you can put them together and you can send them to me and we could do like a follow-up session on the phone and what I'll do is I'll kind of dive deeper into what I talked about in this session for you. But if you don't have any questions or anything like that and this reading was perfect and good, then what we'll do next is we'll do a second session where we'll cover like the rest of the information within your birth chart. You know what I'm saying? Like this was like the most valuable and most important thing for us to discuss. Your sun and your moon and the fact that they're opposite to each other. You know what I'm saying? We did dive into that 100%, but we still have a lot more things to talk about. And yeah, definitely let me know if you want to continue, you know what I'm saying, this journey and tapping more into your astrology and your birth chart. And we can do a second session. I'd be more than happy to do that for you. But yeah, peace, namaste, and you have a beautiful day. Bye bye.